Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, TugaAvenger here, and we've got ourselves a new Gamescom 7 trailer. Well, as much as you can call this new, really. It reuses large sections from the E3 trailer and extended versions of smaller scenes that we had seen before. It is, frankly, fairly disappointing in that regard, but the few things that it does have new are fairly interesting. So, let's get down to business, shall we? The trailer begins with an extended engagement between an Ocean Hornet and what we can assume to be Mikhail's Su-30 that we had seen in previous trailers. The Ocean Hornet, Spare 8, fairly strange call sign, is told not to engage, but does so anyway. Why he's told not to engage is anyone's guess at this point, although it might be a scenario similar to XCOM 5. Unidentified aircraft flying into sovereign airspace, engaging enemy fighters, possibly causing a war. Who knows? It's also noteworthy that our friend Spare 8 might not be the 3 strikes, but he does have at least 1 strike, with a single splash of white paint across his stabilizer. Next, the Erusian flag takes us to a brief news report, possibly the most interesting part of this trailer. The news scroll tells us that all ocean carriers have taken damage, and more interestingly, where that happened. We see a map of Osia with all its major ports labeled. In context, it is fair to assume that these were the locations where their carriers were struck. The distance between Osia and Erusia had probably led us to believe that this would be a war constrained to the Ocean continent. But, for the interest of the game, it's very good news that it won't be. And well, it makes a lot of sense for them to be taken out in Ocean territory because, as we saw in XCOM 5, never underestimate Osia's capability of being infiltrated to the bone. Next, we have a ton of footage recycled from the E3 trailer, absolutely nothing new here except for the audio.
This is Princess Rosa Cosette Delise of the Kingdom of Erusia. The Ocean Federation has forced construction of its giant space elevator on our territory, which is clearly an illegal and unforgivable violation of our nation's sovereignty.
Okay, first reaction, Princess please. As we've seen in the previous trailer, this is the location of the space elevator, in Axel Bay, which is a bit of a hike from Erusia up here. This could mean one of two things. Either the princess is trying to spur up anti-ocean thought in the territory she already conquered, or the northern part of Axel Bay at least has already been Erusian territory before the war and they have expanded since the war depicted in XCOM 4. As I theorized in my previous breakdown, the borders we see on these maps are fairly similar to the ones we see in XCOM Assault Horizon Legacy, the XCOM 2 remake, with the southern territories being Ocean aligned. And like in that game, the peninsula north of Axel Bay is not one of them. In any case, it'd be very strange for both Erusia and the other Ocean nations around it to allow the construction of the space elevator, to have no stake in it, and then to start a war over it. But, as we've sadly seen in our world, coming up with reasons to start a war is really not that difficult.
War is something I'll never get used to, but tonight has been a total shock.
Just a small side note to say that I've always liked when games cover their wars through a journalistic perspective, and although it doesn't seem like we'll have a journalist as a side protagonist, we have already seen plenty of news coverage of the war during these trailers. And another side note, something that I completely forgot to mention in the first trailer breakdown, they absolutely nailed the cannon sound. My congratulations to the sound design team.
The princess encouraged her citizens. She kept the wheels of war turning.
The city under martial law, gunfire, the roar of jets echoing through the streets.
All that remained was chaos and confusion.
I wonder which path you would choose. Is this for Erusia? And I don't even have a country to call home.
My homeland. And it feels so far away now.
What a shocker! Our little princess isn't so innocent after all. In any case, it's safe to say that XCOM 7 will not stray away from the anti-war themes that have permeated the series. Despite that, I am confident in saying that the chaos and confusion that the scientist guy talks about is actually not referring to the war itself. That is something that I'll get into further detail in a future video. Two small details to point out. First, this screenshot where we get to see our princess in a different light, and second, our closest look yet at Mikhail's emblem. And except for a few beautiful frames with an F-22 Raptor, the rest of the trailer is entirely recycled in order from the E3 trailer. That does allow me to point out something I completely missed in the previous breakdown though, which is the fact we have a sneaky MiG-29 making its way into the game. Always a welcome addition, just hope it's not a starter plane this time. And we also have...
This should prove to be fun. What do you mean? The enemy has many experienced pilots in the ranks.
Mikhail doing his best Yellow 13 impression. And that's about it. So what's my overall opinion of this trailer? I'm a bit disappointed, if I'm honest. Having a 2-minute trailer with this little new information and so much recycled footage and audio is fairly disappointing. But on the flip side, I was also not expecting to have a new trailer at Gamescom. It is simply not typical of Ace Combat 7 or even Bandai Namco to release new trailers at Gamescom. Usually, that stuff is left for the Tokyo Game Show in September. That said, Gamescom is the largest and still growing games conference in the entire world, far bigger than E3, so it's only natural that they jump on that ship. Is it understandable that in the 2 months since E3 they didn't have much new for a brand new trailer? I'm not entirely sure, but I'll leave that up to you. If there's anything I missed, please be sure to tell me. And I dearly hope you enjoyed. This has been TugaAvenger, and I'll see you next time.